Soul Garden.
Good morning from my smartphone to yours. I'm Lovecasting live in the Serious Joy Garden Studios, and this is your Tuesday, Namaste Today. Good morning and namaste, and welcome to Namaste Today. My name is Witecki. I am the Sensei to Serious Joy. I'm also a psychic astrologer and a personal sensei of life coaching and love to people. I've been helping people stand their hearts for about 10 years now, and I'm quite proud of my record. People heal, they grow. You know, the truth is everyone is at their own pace. So if you stick at it, my friend, don't worry. We'll get there together. Now we're in a powerful time. The sun is in Leo, which means we are coming into our hearts and what we love most, and what we love about ourselves most. And that's something I really want to express to you, that we are meant on earth to fall in love with ourselves. And they say with those Leos is where we're at. And with Leos, people either love a Leo or they hate a Leo. Bill Clinton is a Leo, Madonna is a Leo, Sean Penn is a Leo. I can think of many, many, many Leos. And usually it's, oh, I love her, oh, I hate her, and it's usually that way. But I'll say it's like they are our heart. Leos live in their heart. Now, some Leos, young Leos, spiritually young Leos in the first 11 steps, if you're a Leo in the first 11 steps to Leo, you are a Leo that is still learning to give your heart giving your heart credibility, to give your heart time and space, to give your heart what it deserves. So those are your hyper Leos. They're always trying to prove how lovable they are because they haven't quite figured out just how cool they are. Your proficient Leos, Act 2 Leos, which is what we went through before this act, these are Leos that get on camera. These are Leos that can on cue love themselves. Then you're like Act 3 Leos are your Leos that love themselves a whole lot. They think they can be president, or so much they think this, or so much they think that. And really, you're not limited to these acts. But the point is, it's always loving yourself to a certain degree. Either you're loving yourself to protecting yourself in survival, or you're loving yourself when you try to do things on earth and you don't give yourself up, don't give your heart up in that exchange, or you love yourself in a huge way so you can pull off a miracle. Another thing I always say in all my personal readings, which is totally true, is if you understand the architecture of incarnation, you know that everybody is actually a Leo that decided to play another role. So unless you're a Leo, if you're a Leo, you're a purebred. That's what Spirit is. Spirit is Leo, and then Leo pretends to be different states, different roles. And that brings me to the role of this week. We're in the final act, Act 3 of Leo, Act 3 of figuring out who you really are. Venus is retrograde, if you don't know, and that means that we're at the same time doing a blast from the past, and old parts of our story are coming forward. And I'll be telling some stories about my past life self, and the point is that you take what you like and you discard what you don't, and you're on the karmic front now of a wave. So past lives are important because we casted this light in one life and we catch it in another. And when we catch it, we decide, what do we want to do with this? You know what I mean? Like in the fun of everything. So without further ado, shall we log into my guides and my higher self and check in also with the planets and the timing of things. So coming in right away is the idea of quieting the mind, and this has a lot to do with where the mind is. Mercury today on Tuesday, August 18th, just to put the date stamp on for some people. Mercury's at step 17, so today we're kind of making a decision, whether we know it or not, and what my guides are showing me is that the decision that we're making is... well, it seems very real because Mercury's in Virgo. So it's like, oh my God, it's so real what I'm about to make. This decision has so much real consequence. But my guides are saying, be careful. We make reality. It becomes real. Just like, when you freeze, soda pop, it becomes a popsicle. Like things change state. It begins as heartfelt intention and it becomes real. And then when it's real, we forget we made that happen. We forget we made that reality. So the mind will be wanting to be stuck on certain details. And Your job, says Spirit, is to listen to Spirit, and that is really true. Spirit rules the day. First of all, Mercury is at step 17. That means I love it, and I'm listening to my senses. Spirit, okay? The other step is the heart. The sun today is at step 25. That's I feel it, I think it. 2 plus 5 makes 7. There's Spirit again that opens up when our feelings and our mind is on our feelings, and that's what it's about. That's why I think they bring up Mercury, because step 25 rules the day. So we're in the last act of Leo. We're trying to figure out who we really are. I don't know about you and your story, but I still have a lot of unanswered questions that I'm still asking higher self, and I only have so many hours in the day, so many hours to meditate, so. And so today's that day where you ask those questions, like, I'm thinking that I'm going to end up doing this and this. Is that right? Because when your mind starts to get a grasp of how these details are all adding up, it's like, serious? To underscore my own brand, serious? Are you serious? And the universe will say yes or no. You know what I mean? And the no will be like, you'll get a strong, no, I do in my sense. It's not just a no, but when I get a no from the universe, it's almost like when I was 2 years old and they did something wrong, oh no, oh. Not the universe shames me, but I shame myself because I somehow know I did wrong. And so psychically I know I did wrong. And so I go into shame as a human, even though it's and it took me a while to know I'd be picking up on stuff and going into shame over it. And it's like, wait, that's not even real or this life. So the essence of this is that Spirit's trying to open up today. Spirit is trying to speak to you. And it's clear and present. And as a person who is climbing up the staircase now into serious joy myself, practicing what I preach and seeing how it goes, I can say that, man, we can completely be in communion with Spirit, and that's it. Communion, union. It's a party going on in here. So it is about opening up and listening. And so what they're saying to me is that because Mercury's in Virgo, your mind might be fixed on old details and old things that you know, and they want to remind you that when you create the life you want, none of these details will be here. We'll create all new details. Very rarely do you replace an old detail with the exact same detail, but you might. It doesn't matter. You'll have a choice later in the assembly line of Serious Joy. We're very early on here, and we're trying to figure out who we really are. So you got to put the mind on your feelings, and that's how you quiet the mind. You put it on your feelings. You go, mind, listen to how I feel. I feel, and let the mind come up with it. Let the mind describe it. So in meditation, I think where people are really confused, and one thing I want to put out there as Sensei is that people think meditation is quieting the mind. No, it's not quiet at all. I think that is some sort of spiritual conspiracy that came out in the Dark Ages or something, because my mind is extremely active. The point is what is my mind doing? Well, it's not thinking about my schedule, and it's not thinking about my girlfriend. It's not thinking about my son. It's not thinking about any of these things. It's thinking about, how do I feel now? And then it's asking myself another question well, what if we moved out there? How do we feel about that? Well, what do you mean? And that's me meditating, you know what I mean? Anyone would walk by and be like, he's fucking nuts, man. I've seen, he's crazy, but oh well. But that's what Buddha did under the tree. Buddha revealed to me one time, honestly, in meditation, that under the tree, that's what he was doing. It was it took 1,000 years to get through all of his crap, he said. Is this and I was like, oh, I get it. Because I'm nuts too in that sense. So we all are, and that's the fun part of it, right? So we're going into a new reality. The new reality means that you have to choose the right details. Choosing the right details means you have to listen to the force of love inside of you. Okay? So use the force of love inside of you. I don't want any Disney lawyers in here. And you will find yourself getting information you needed. Now, using the force inside of you, of love inside of you, what does that mean? It means that you are loving to yourself in every moment. So if your mind is on your feelings, and your feelings are like, oh, well, that means I have to move to Nebraska. So right there in that moment, your soul's ready to freak out. And I'm saying, you be loving there. Oh, it's okay if we have to move, we'll get snowshoes, whatever, and that's what I say, it's okay, and the magic words are, it's okay. So they're saying that the mind is going to fight certain details. The mind is likely to fight. The mind wants to classify as old things. Black Loth is at step 29. We're in the final step now of facing certain fears and seeing that they are just false. If it's false evidence appearing real, there was no evidence when you actually asked, when you inquired. Remember, when you hold something, it will disappear. Okay? So if you hold that fear in your hand, it will disappear right in your hand. That's the nature of reality. It kind of like has this expiration date where just poof, because you gave it so much attention. I think it just keeps us creating or something. And God talks about it in this book I've been reading forever, Conversations with God, which I highly recommend, and I am definitely plugging at this date. Anything else, guys? No. I know that was a long no, but what I did there was I was like looking at all the planets and just really feeling like if there was any energy, and then suddenly at the very last minute, the way I giggle is because, you know, like some guy to me was just like, they're supposed to talk to us, duh, you know, like, and someone's a smartest up there, I tell you. So, friends, I love you and I appreciate you, and I'm so grateful that you log in. It's a pleasure to be your sensei to serious joy, seriously, and I'll see you 24 hours more. Until then, stay in your heart, listen to that heart, and live, love, be.